Good evening, leaders. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear? Hands up, those who can hear me.
Yeah, good evening. We can hear you well.
Oh, thank you very much. Welcome to Global Leadership Network. Is a forum for transformational leadership. And tonight we are going to have an overview of what the program entails. And before we proceed, I would request Mr. Kiari to lead us with an opening prayer.
Okay, let's pray. Father, we are grateful for this night. As leaders, we commit ourselves to you. As we engage on this conversation of leadership, our prayer is that God, you will deepen our understanding, you will deepen our knowledge, and more so wisdom on how to lead better and glorify your name. We pray as we converse, God, may you enrich our conversation and may you deepen whatever we're going to discuss tonight so that, Lord, will be impactful in our leadership spaces. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Kiari. Tonight, we are launching cohort number 22, courtesy of Adam Wigai. And we are glad to receive you leaders who are joining this cohort. And we hope we shall work together as we start off. I am Bernard Mwangi from cohort number 7, which I did last year and graduated last year. And I have the privilege to moderate the session tonight. And thank you so much for having been given this opportunity to moderate the session. I am a retired civil servant. I have been in the civil service for quite a while. I was an accountant in the government service. I served in a Moi government the entire term. I served in Kibaki government the entire term. And I also served in Uhuru's government halfway the term. And I'm happy that I exited well. And I was introduced to this program by one, Mr. Joseph Kiari. And it's a really good program for those who yearn to become transformative leaders. The knowledge that I gained, or the skills that I gained through this program, are helping me to interact well with the people that I meet outside here. I regret that I never had this forum before, because when I was serving in the government, I would have made proper use of this forum to transform leaders who are following me. But all the same, I'm privileged to interact and to network with all those who are in this program. And therefore, it's a good program for us all. James Stroke said that everyone who can lead, everyone can lead because everyone can serve. With that in mind, we all know that at whatever point we are in the church, at our place of work, we are rendering a certain service. And therefore, if I can serve, then I can lead. And that is one of the items or one of the convictions that we should take along with us, even as we start this program tonight. I would request that we shall do a self-introduction. Because of the interest of time, we may not be able to give each one of us an opportunity to speak, but probably towards the end of the program, we shall have 1 or 2 people to speak. So in the meantime, I would request that all of us introduce ourselves in the chat. That is, give your name, give your profession, and probably your expectation from this program. In the meantime, we have 2 speakers or two of the alumni who will give us an experience. They are graduates in the just recent cohorts, cohort 18 and 19, and they will give us the experience and maybe we shall be able to learn 1 or 2 items from what they are giving us. So what I would request is that we spend as little time as possible so that those who are joining this cohort will have time to get an overview from the chairman, maybe after we have that discussion. So I will request Bosco Mutunga to start us off and give us his experience, what he learned from the course and how it has impacted on him at his workplace, maybe at the church, and probably in other groups where he's an associate or he's connecting with the people. The greater part of this is networking. That is the motto of the team. Networking is critical, even as we learn about leadership. And therefore, Mr. Bosco, allow me to welcome you and give us your experience in the program. Then from there, we shall have Milka. We shall have Mr. Chege Kamau to say a word or two. So karibu sana Bwana Bosco, and give us your experiences from the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bernard Mwangi. I hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Thank you very much. Greetings to everybody, and I want to thank you for allowing me to come to your living spaces. For those who are at home, for probably those who are at their place of work, thank you for allowing me and giving me this opportunity. This is the second time that I've been invited to give a testimonial of the experience. I'm a graduate of Cohort 18. We just finished class about a month ago, and I've been requested to give the experience what probably the expectations you tend to learn in this great masterclass. I would like to invite, I know I have members of the Bosco Mutunga Foundation who have logged in. I also have some of my colleagues who have logged in, and probably people who follow me on social media. I really advertised this great masterclass. I think I should be made one of the great pioneers. I'm a very great advertiser of this leadership masterclass, and the reason why I am so proud to be associated with the leadership class, even in my place of work, is because of the transformation that I've been able to see in my sense of leadership on the various forms that I get to lead. Also, you cannot lead if you do not accept to be led. So I have also learned on how to accept to accept being led, to follow instructions. And you have to remain teachable. You know, you have to remain teachable every time. You have to learn, you have to unlearn. One thing about this world is that you cannot know everything. And you have to know that there are people who will always be a step of you. And you have to remain teachable. I would also want to thank our chairman, Mr. Joseph Kiare, for also giving me this platform to talk to Cohort 22. As I said earlier, this is my second time giving a little bit of the experience that we've had over the last 3 months. I would also want to thank God Almighty for health. The greatest wealth in this world is health. When you wake up, when you are of sound health, you can walk, you can talk, you don't have any body issues. That is the greatest health. So I would also want to thank God for that. Probably I would talk a little bit about the 4 different perspectives of leaders and where we find ourselves in. We find ourselves in a very interesting situation. We just came out of COVID. We are in an election year, and I know what is in everybody's mind is the economy. Everybody's talking about the economy, a little bit of high cost of living, and how do we as leaders get to impact that? One common thing that we get to experience is that in such areas, you'll find that there's always fear of the unknown. You'll always find that there's uncertainty. You find that we do not clearly know what is going to happen. We find that there are interests. Right now, we're in the political fever, and every politician has his interests. So we find that there's a little bit of interest, and we are in a rough terrain. So how, us as leaders, how do we impact? The biggest problem we are facing in the world is lack of good leadership. I would like to acknowledge one of the great men who left us. That is our 3rd president, Mr. Mwai Kibaki, who was a transformational leader and who really transformed this country's economy and put his interest behind for the sake of this great republic of Kenya. And if we can borrow from his characters, then I think we would leave this world in a very good place. I would also want to highlight some perspective for leaders to lead in a moment like this. There is foresight and there's intuition. If probably I would give a small description of what is hindsight. Hindsight is what we know to be true because it is so. This is what we know to be true because the facts are there. That is what is hindsight is. We have insight, and insight is what we learn from the information that we have, what we learn from the experiences that we are going through now. Then we have foresight. Foresight is what we need to know about what will be. That is being a step further. What are we expecting? What do we need to know about where we are going? What do we need to know about the next 1 year? What do we need to know about what is coming? And then we have intuition. Intuition is what you know, your gut, what you know to be true. This is the facts. And at times as leaders, you have that strong compelling of things should be done this way. This is the path. It may be a very, very unpopular, but this is the path that we need to follow. So those are some probably of 4 ways, four things that I think that us as leaders should be able to have. Probably I would talk about the forms of leadership you expect to have in this cohort. And one thing really stands out, and that is transformational leadership. We, at the end of this cohort, you should be able to be transformed, to think differently in terms of your style of leadership in your place of work, your style of leadership. The biggest way to lead is to lead self before you lead others. You cannot lead others before you lead yourself. You lead yourself, you lead your family, you lead your organization probably. And that is one thing that really stands out. Another thing that really stands out, and I like this, is the servant leadership. And I like the fact that it's being compared to Jesus Christ, who offered servant leadership, who he did not offer leadership of pride or leadership of being dictatorial. He was a servant leader. He always washed his disciples' feet, and that is very interesting to get to be transformed to be a servant leadership. One thing stands out as I finish my remarks. One thing stands out, and probably when I was beginning, I forgot to say what I do. I'm a business partner. I offer financial solutions, and one thing always stands out when I'm making my presentation is purpose. And I think that is one thing that will stand out when you're having these 3 months of great learning. What is your purpose? When you get to know as a leader the purpose that you have to do in the society, then I think we can really change the dimensions and the kind of society we are leading. So the cohort and the masterclass helps us to develop to be a purpose-driven leader, and it's something probably in every class it's a word that is going to come across. So as I finish my remarks and my testimonial on how the class has been, class of 18, I would want to welcome the 20 participants who are logged in now, and want to wish you all the best as you undertake these 3 months. I always I told the other class that this is probably the best decision that I personally made. And this is going to be also one of the best decisions that you're going to make. It's going to be 3 months of intense learning and learning. I hope that you get into this class with hunger to learn, hunger to network. There's a lot of networking opportunities here. There's a lot of also good men of God, a lot of learning. And it's going to be quite a journey. And at 8:15, I would want to officially welcome all the 20 members to cohort 22. I wish you all the best. I wish you that you get to learn, you get to be a transformed person, you get to also be impactful, impact the society where you are, impact probably the people whom you lead, and also family. And I wish you all the best. I will be joining your classes. I think Thursday is a good day. So I'll be joining the 75% of your classes and I'll be a silent learner and getting also to go back and review what I have learned over the last 3 months. I hope to see you at the finish line. Thank you so much, Bernard, for the opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Bosco. Let's appreciate him in a way that thank you so much for that. Let me call upon Madam Milka Ndumia, another alumni, to proceed from there.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Bosco Mutunga. That was powerful, and it was powerful. Yes. Thank you again for having me here. I want to bless God. My name is Milka. Yes, my name is Milka Ndumia. I am born again. I am married. I'm a mother of 3 of teaching and an administrator. And I was in Cohort 19, a Cohort 19 graduate. We met on Saturdays from 8 to 10, weddings, shopping, traveling, etc. Saturdays are usually busy. But I want to thank God because when I committed this time to God, He preserved my time. I did not miss the class and came my way. Our class was characterized by good participation, and we worked hand in hand with our facilitators. It was a very fruitful time of learning that you'll be imparted and you'll be transformed. I want to start by saying that leadership is needed everywhere. You need to lead yourself as a person. You need to lead your family, friends. In business, there is leadership needed. In the institutions we are working. So leadership is needed everywhere. And everyone is a leader. And a famous quote says that if you can serve, then you can lead. So you need to optimize your leadership potential. And this is a platform that is going to help you, that is going to mold you so that you can become the leader that God wants you to become. And this one, you will do it through this training, getting the knowledge and skills and a mindset transformation. I want also to state that leadership is a passion. It is hard work. And I want to pose this question to you. Can you do what you want others to do? Because that is the mark of leadership. That is what we call servant leadership. So whatever you want others to do, you should be able to do it. Then, of course, we came to learn about the Pareto rule. That is the 80-20 rule. And this one says that, what is that task that you can do that will give you a lot of results? The 20%, you put in 20% to give you 80%. What is that task? What is that habit? That when you give it, then you will get 80% productivity. So this means that you prioritize that task. Prioritize the task and do it excellently. And you'll find that you get a high turnover. So in all that you do at home, at work, wherever you are, desire to see good results. In all your spheres of influence, desire to see good results. So that's why I say that leadership is a passion. Now, as we continue with the training, we also realize that leadership is in crisis. There are gaps all over. And therefore, having this opportunity and this platform, you need to harness your skills so that you can be the person that is bringing the solution. Be here to learn. And I want to refer to the biblical verse, that is the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 12, talks about the sons of Issachar, that they understood the times that they were living and they had knowledge of what Israel should do. So as a leader, you should have that discerning spirit, that you understand the gaps that there are around you, and then get the knowledge like what you're doing now, so that you can be able to be the solution. You realize that people have these conceptions out there, but as you go through this training, then you'll know what leadership is about. It's about serving others. It's about transforming others. And as you do that, character development is key. You need to look at your integrity, humility, hard work. And I also want to refer to the biblical Moses, you know, that of Israelites, and he delivered them from Pharaoh. And that one, and then you also realize that one good attribute or character that Moses had was humility. I said that today we have misconceptions about leadership. But you see here Moses in the book of Numbers, chapter 12 and verses 3, it is recorded that Moses was the most humble man on earth. So humility is a character that is required in leadership. But what we see today, maybe it's arrogance, we see pride, and so on. Now, even as he was a strong leader, he also had his own problems. He had his negative, his flaws, his mistakes, and that is human. You see, he was angry, he was fearful, he was full of self-doubt. And this is true even to us. But through this leadership training, as a person, I was able to confront my fears head on. And I was able to strengthen what I have. And right now, I am proud to say that I can articulate my message confidently. I can talk before many people. I now believe in myself that I'm able to do more than I can think or even imagine. I was also challenged as we continue to learn on casting my vision, putting it in writing, as in Habakkuk, and making it measurable. And I want to say that now I'm focused, and now I'm able to be clear in my goals, and I'm able to even pursue what I've committed. I'm able to navigate through the obstacles. Now I see the big picture, which makes me to climb mountains until I see myself on the other side. Now, that notwithstanding, I want to say that our moment was very impactful. And I can say that now I'm transformed to become a member. A mentor. I am now a mentor. I am bringing up others. And that is what, as we learned, passing the baton. And when I look at people, when I meet people, I see people with a great potential. I see growth and leadership. And I keep provoking that leadership trait in them by inspiring them, by motivating them to become more productive. And one other thing that I like about this is that I now read books because I realize that I have to develop myself, personal growth. And every week I read a book that is inspiring me, that is challenging me. And I'm looking at patterns. How have people, what are those traits? What have they done that others have not done? And in all this, I have seen that it's good to invest in people. And the greatest success in life is what learning was about effective communication. And as a leader, you must master the art of articulating your thoughts, ideas, and message to others with clarity. And what you get will be directly related to how you communicate. So you need to connect with people at heart. You need to win their approval. You need people to run with a vision. And in teamwork, you will get much. So as I communicate, I'm now enthusiastic. I am now an active listener. And of course, I observe the nonverbal cues and I get feedback. And this one completes the communication process. So I'm a better communicator now, having gone through the training. And I'm so grateful for that. Now, I want to leave you with this, leaders, that as a leader, you must be above the others. When you stand before the others, you must have something to say. And this one, you'll be able to do that when you sharpen your skills here in this forum, attending these leadership classes. And as you attend these classes, add value to your leadership training. And how you will add value is by participating fully, being consistent, and being committed. And a famous quote that says that I could not change others until I change myself. So you must change so that you can be a blessing to others. So I want to commend all of you, and I want to say that let us be positive and let us learn. Let us be enthusiastic, let us be passionate, and we are going to change this world. We are going to transform. So I salute you, Mr. Kiari, for answering the call of God to transform leadership globally. And I'm indeed grateful for the program. God bless you, and God bless you, leaders. So cohort 22, you are most welcome. And we are going to be together even as you continue to learn. Thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you, Milka, for that insight. It's a good one. It's a good recap. And we shall be able to move on alongside this new cohort. Leadership is not dictated by age or time. It's a continuous process. And we shall continue to hear more as we get along in the course. Now, allow me to invite Pastor Chege Kamau to give some input as well. Chege Kamau, if you can hear me, please welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Bernard, and good evening all.
Good evening
I want
to you.
to make a few preliminary remarks, and then I will mention 4 things that I consider critical for this course. Thank you so much, Joseph, for considering me to give my testimonials tonight. I want to recognize one person. I invited quite a number of people to join the session tonight. I don't know how many have joined, but tonight I want to specially recognize one, Dr. Barbara Bullman. Dr. Barbara Bullman is a medical doctor, a doctor that has worked in Kenya and even outside for international organizations. And I want to say, this lady was my student from 1993 to 1996 in one of the great schools in this country. I don't want to mention that name. And what I knew about Barbara is that she was a purpose-driven student. And from when we linked together after many years, I want to say she has continued to be that purpose-driven student, doctor in whatever she does. Barbara is a great mentor. And I want to say Joseph would be a great mentor, would be a great asset for the team, the Global Leadership Network. I have requested that she joins, and I have requested that after this, I'm sure Joseph and Barbara will engage, because I recommend that she joins this network. That being said, I want to mention 4 things as I welcome cohort 22 and say that you shall not be disappointed. I can promise you that this is the best choice that you have ever made. You have heard it from Bosco and Milka. They have articulated it very well. Now, 4 things that I want to talk about tonight. One, leadership has been defined in various ways by many people. And the manual that you're going to use, I think there is a statement that says leadership is everyone's business. And thank God for our chairman, Joseph. He made it his business, and not just a business, but to make sure that there is a pool of leaders. And what excites me is that this is Christian driven. And I'm very excited of what is happening from the Global Leadership Network, that we are building a capacity of a church so that the church is not just led by anybody, but they are leaders that are worth the salt. Now, one of the purposes of this course that really touched me is to empower leaders and to activate and optimize their leadership potential. Even before I joined the course, I would say I was a leader. But I want to say, as the purpose is stated for Global Leadership Network, indeed, I was empowered. The leadership potential that is in me has been optimized. And indeed, I want to say, I have begun the journey of transformation. And therefore, Cohort 22, one thing that you must ensure that you acquire is being a transformative leader. Number 2, I want to say that you are leading in a time when leadership is a challenge. And one thing that you may have to go through this course is what is called the VUCA world. A VUCA is an acronym for an environment that is volatile, it is uncertain, it is complex, and it is ambiguous. And therefore, as a leader, it doesn't matter whether in the church or in any area where you are leading, that is the world that we lead in. Volatile. In other words, it is unpredictable and out of control. When you don't have the skills to lead, you may be driven by the crowds. It is very uncertain. And therefore, many times it calls for people that are risk takers. It calls for us who are in the church to be men and women that can take a leap of faith. It is very complex, quite dynamic, changing every other day. And finally, very ambiguous. And I want you to know this, Cohort 22, ambiguous. It means it's very unfamiliar. And many times you're going to find yourself leading outside your expertise. And therefore, for you to succeed, there is call for a change of your mindset. You cannot afford to be held captive to the things that you did yesterday. Like the Bible says, behold, I am doing a new thing. And I think this course is one of those new things to prepare us to tackle the ambiguous nature of the environment in which we find ourselves in. And then the final thing that I want to talk about, what is going to be your take home after this course? For me, the impact still speaks aloud even today. The mentorship, because after this course, it should be your duty at least to mentor somebody. Continuous learning. One thing that I'll never forget is the book review. That it gives you an opportunity to read a book and make a review. And I want to say the role of character in leadership. You may go through the course, you may be called a leader, but as long as you are not a leader of character, let us say integrity, then I think the cost will have been a waste. The value of networking. The course actually prepares you to network with leaders from every aspect, every sphere of life in this country and beyond. My last statement, for you to succeed, it calls for high levels of discipline and commitment. And brethren, that is what leadership is all about. Commitment, integrity, and leadership. Thank you so much. May the Lord bless you. Welcome to the Global Leadership Network. Thank you, Bernard.
Thank you, Pastor Chege. At least I can attest to your passion for leadership. having worked with you, though briefly at some point in time, and really the passion that you have for leadership is immeasurable. Thank you so much for your insight. And I believe the incoming cohort will be able to appreciate the contents of this global leadership networking for transformation of those leaders we want to leave or to pass the baton to. I believe the people who are on board, if you were to give each one an opportunity to speak, maybe we will not be able even to complete or to go through what we intended to cover tonight. But allow me to invite one of the leaders within the forum, Mr. Johnson Kahindi, just to say a word. His is not testimonials, but to say a word, and then invite our chairman to take us through the program for tonight. Bwana Johnson Kahindi, Reverend, welcome.
Good evening, leaders. My name is Reverend Johnston Kahindi. I am an alumni here, having gone through this one and cohort number 3. What I do currently, my calling is has two branches. Okay, I've been called to take care of you. First, take care of your pockets and take care of your hearts. For that reason, I am a pastor, so I take care of your heart. I am a banker, so I take care of your pocket. So if you have any problem on those lines, I am here. I work with KCB. I'm the branch manager of KCB Kayole branch here at Shujamol. And we are there trying to get solutions, supporting people to achieve things that they want. I consider myself very lucky to have gone through this course. I'm not supposed to give a testimonial, but having been a manager in the bank for many years before coming to this course, if you see me sticking around, there is a good reason. Well, I'm not a very busy man. That's why you'll see me here frequently, just to be here. Let me say just 2 things: that do not be too busy to do what you like. That's 1. 2, do not be too busy to grow yourself. So if you've gotten this opportunity, just make use of it. If there are many of us who have been out there, having been called and calling ourselves leaders, and then you come to this course and you find you are learning something good that you can apply, something practical, there is value. There is value. Again, we cannot overemphasize the issue of network. This course has exposed me to many things that brought many people to my hands. So when I sit in that seat nowadays, I feel like I'm sitting in the seat of power. With the connections that I have, the network that I have, I can get many, many things done while I'm seated over there. Because if I want one thing done by Joseph Kiarie, I mean, I know how to get him. Bernard Mwangi is there. My friend, Pastor Peter Chege. And it's really good because you have people. The other time, okay, I should keep this short. But the other time we were in Kilifi, I think you saw, you can see on the photo there, that was taken in Kilifi, in my home ground. And we were there supporting the leaders who are supporting me. So this network has actually built me. I've not been at home now for about a month and a half. And things are going on well. Why? Because the leaders you can see behind the scene there were equipped by this network. So it is really somewhere I have benefited as an individual, I've benefited as a family, and well, let me stop there. Let me just take this time to welcome our chairman to please tell us a number of things. There are a number of things. We thank God for him and for everyone who is on board here, for all those who have been through this course and the new ones who are here. So by a show of your hand on the clap, let us just clap digitally as we welcome our chairman. So those who can clap digitally, please do that. Thank you, Che. Barbara, thank you. Harrison, thank you. Bernard, thank you. He's down here. Okay, Chairman, you are welcome.
Thank you so much, Reverend Kahindi. Thank you, Mr. Bosco, Milka. Thank you, Pastor Chege, and all the participants. I think one thing that gives me a lot of joy tonight is to see how the alumni have impressed this masterclass. I feel the continuity. I feel that this is something that is on safe hands, because that is the thinking of every leader. Every leader tries to think in terms of continuity. If I start a program, are there people who are able to carry it beyond the boundaries of my reach? And I think I'm so encouraged tonight, and I want to salute you all, the alumni. May God bless you, and may you keep up that spirit. Leaders, I just want to take the opportunity to take you through the overview. My name has already been mentioned. I'm Joseph Kiari. I'm an author, and also I work as an IT specialist. I have a passion for leadership because everything rises and falls on leadership. And there is nothing that can be transformed if a leader is not transformed. If we want to utilize the resources that we have, then we have to get to the leader. There is one exercise that we normally do in class, the problem-solving technique. And it's very funny. Sometimes we identify a problem, and then when we dig deeper, we realize actually the people that we need to deal with more, they are not even the technical, the operations, they are the executive, because some of the issues might emanate from the executive. And those issues that emanate from the executive, they are always linked to leadership. So leaders, allow me just to take you through the overview. This is sort of our first introduction to the masterclass. It is, it's quite rich, so we'll be able to learn even as we look at the overview. We're not just talking about what the program is all about, but we're talking about the attitudes that are critical for every leader. So after this, I'm sure all of us will have some take home. All of us will have something that we can apply, and also something that we can teach the people that we are leading. That's our principle, and that is the thinking of everyone that goes through this masterclass. Allow me just to mention that from the biblical perspective, from Proverbs 22, a very, very strong message on leadership, that when the country or even an organization is in chaos, everybody has a plan to fix it. But it takes a leader of real understanding to straighten things out. The key word here is understanding. And this masterclass is designed to take us deeper, especially in terms of knowledge, in terms of personal, interpersonal skills. I know we are already somewhere because we are all leaders, but there is always an opportunity to be able to deepen our understanding. I listened to one of the speakers from South Africa, used to come to teach us in the church, and used to tell us one of the problems of the church in Kenya is that it's half-inch deep in knowledge. And therefore, when people are not able to survive on their own, they always depend on the pastor because the knowledge is so shallow. And I think of leaders as well. How deep are we as leaders? That is the conversation that we're going to have throughout this masterclass. The second statement I want to just point out is Ecclesiastes 10, verse 9. If the axe is dull and he does not sharpen its edge, then he must exert more strength. But wisdom, that is to sharpen the axe, helps him succeed with less effort. Milka has pointed out to this, the Pareto principle. When we sharpen ourselves, if we spend quality time sharpening ourselves, it becomes easy to lead. But if we get into the leadership scenario, the leadership spaces, without deepening, without sharpening ourselves, or even if we appoint people into the leadership position and we don't sharpen them, it becomes a struggle to lead. And that is what Abraham Lincoln said, that if he had 6 hours to chop down a tree, he would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. And that basically means to us as leaders, the best moments are those moments we spend in sharpening ourselves. And this will be a moment just to be able to sharpen ourselves. There are key attitudes that are of focus in this discussion. So as we go through, these words will be repeated, and these words will also be inscribed in us. And they include generational thinking. We want to cultivate these attitudes through this discussion. Global focus, purpose-centered, vision-driven, strategic thinking, transformation, networking, collaboration, teamwork, creativity, innovation. We'll repeat these words consistently because they are very, very important for every leader. We can leverage a lot by networking. I've been able to meet with different kinds of leaders through the connections that we have had through this platform. And it has made it very easy even to be able to run our program and also to be able to add more value to the people out there. Network collaboration will be key. The other key words, leaders, and this one is very important: learn and relearn. There are some strategies. As we go through the masterclass, we'll notice that they might be obsolete. And I have the courage to unlearn them and relearn new strategies. I'll have the courage to say, yes, this jawbone has helped me, but I think the time for jawbone is over. For those who are familiar with that story in the Bible, I have to adopt a new strategy to be able to move on to the next step. So the attitude of learning, the attitude of accepting to relearn, and the attitude of accepting that I have to unlearn this. When I was doing my master's, I remember one professor used to tell us, if there is a slide that is out of context, he used to tell us, have the courage to delete that slide. You might like it, you might have researched, you might have spent your time, but it doesn't connect with other slides. Have the courage to delete it. And we would courageously delete the slide, even with all the effort that we had done to research. So we'll also have the courage to shed off some of the strategies and embody other strategies that we feel are important. What is the goal of the masterclass? There are quite a number, and I'll just highlight this in the following slides. We'll take some time to reflect on the critical role of leadership, just to re-echo that leadership is critical. We look at the leadership gap and look at the strategies of how do we bridge the leadership gap. This masterclass is one of the initiatives of bridging the leadership gap. We'll also take some time to look at how do we enhance our self-care. The 2 hours that we'll be spending together, leaders, those will be our self-care moments. The moments that we have shut down all the people that we are leading, and we are now taking that time to sharpen ourselves. We'll walk through a journey of self-awareness, some tools, and then we'll also look at how to develop dynamic leadership culture, cultivate resilience in leadership, and also promote networking and collaboration. Allow me, leaders, just to mention a little bit on each of these briefly. In most of my talks, I like this scenario here of this leader who was talking to a team of an audience there. And he asked them 3 questions. The first question was, who wants change? And probably if this question is posed to us tonight, there are areas that we all feel they need to change. And we all say, we want change in some particular scenario. The speaker went on and asked the second question, who wants to change? And you can see the hands went down and the faces faced down. But he didn't stop there. He asked the third question, who wants to lead the change? The speaker was left alone. And that tells us of the gap that exists, especially when it comes to issues of leading change, because leading change calls for the courage to be a pioneer, the courage to be an initiator. And pioneers, sometimes they suffer loneliness. I listened to a clip by the former president of US, Barack Obama, and he was saying in his initial stages towards mobilizing the initiative of community service, one of the workshops he had organized, they had done a lot of publication, but when they went to the workshop on the actual day, a hall that was to accommodate more than 200, it had only 5 people. And the team that was supporting him, they told him, we are quitting. But he asked the team, if you quit, who will transform those boys out there? If you quit, who is going to offer a shoulder to those young men? And he told them, you must get the courage to be a pioneer, suffer the loneliness, but eventually be driven by that intrinsic power that is in you to make that change. So who wants to lead the change? That is where we come in as Global Leadership Network, because we are talking about initiating the solutions wherever we are, looking at the gaps and being the initiators, driving transformative change. That is our slot. Leadership is critical as we are looking at the critical role of leadership, because the success and growth of an organization rests in the strength of its leaders. If you see an organization stagnant, then probably we need to look at the leadership. If we see an organization that is not growing, we have to look at the leadership. Today, I was listening to John Maxwell, and he was saying, one of the CEO told him, if an organization is not growing, the first thing that we do is to fire the leader. And he was surprised that they fire the leader. And I said, indeed, if the organization is not growing, then basically we have to address it by looking at the root cause. And in most cases, the root cause is the leader. So in the masterclass, we'll also look at the pivotal role of leadership by looking at how do we lift the lead, the covering of leadership. Because one of the quotes by John Maxwell says the law of the lead, that is the law of the lead, says that leadership ability is the lead that determines a person's level of effectiveness. Is the lead. My leadership, the leadership that I offer to myself as a person is the lead. I cannot go and exceed that lead. I cannot tap into the potential beyond that lead. And in the organization context, there are many resources that are in an organization. But what connects all these resources is the human capacity. And if we are to harness these resources, then we really have to upscale this discussion about leadership, upscale this discussion about management, because leadership is central in organizational growth. Even the best strategies won't succeed if the people part of the equation is not taken into account. And this is what we are going to look at as we continue to discuss on this critical role of leadership. There's a scenario here about 2 countries, our own country, Kenya and South Korea. In 1963, early years of 1960, Kenya was better than Korea, but this country was able to revolutionize itself. And there are good stories that we can be able to pick from this country. It's a small country with 100,000 kilometers squared compared to Kenya, which is 580 kilometers square. But this country is a giant, exporting products to this country. The Samsung, the LG, the Hyundai vehicle, the Kia, the ship manufacturing, and many others from a tiny country. What transformed this country to be that kind of a giant? Just one statement there. Key to Korea's success were flexible and adaptable industrial and trade policies. And policies are basically talking about leadership. And this was backed by strong political leadership, capable government, investment in human and infrastructure capital, and long-term development vision, compared to the vision that we are now working towards, the Vision 2030. So this country, we're talking about a visionary leadership that was able to usher the country to where it is today. And I can connect this to this proverb, African proverb. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. I always feel Kenya is full of lions. It's full of lions, people who are industrious, people who are aggressive. But I think we need to talk more about leadership, because that is what will change the game. That is what will alter, because leadership determines the state of its followers. And we are talking about capacity building, enlightened mindset transformation, among other key aspects. So leadership determines the direction of its people. Just look at that car, and I don't know if you can tell the direction. And there are so many organizations that are in this kind of a state. There are people in our organization, they cannot tell you they're going right, left, back, or forward. Why? Because the vision aspect is not well articulated. And therefore, people end up having their own visions, their own objectives, their own small motivation, which does not feed the overall vision of the organization. Peter Drucker, he said that the leader's first task is to be the trumpet that sounds a clear sound. And therefore, having spent time together, leaders going through this masterclass will avoid this kind of a scenario and will be able to be that trumpet that sounds the clear sound. Bridge the leadership gap, that's the next goal. If you look at these photos here, what comes to mind? What comes to mind if you look at these photos? And maybe I can take just 1 minute to look at the chart. I don't know what comes to mind. You can just share on the chat. What does this ring? What does this speak to us? These companies that are here, what do they speak to us as leaders? Let me just take maybe 3 responses because of time, for the interest of time. What speaks to you as a leader? If you look at these companies, what speaks to you? We're talking about the leadership gap, looking at it from even the Kenyan context. What speaks to you when you see this? Yeah, I see Reverend Kahindi, you are saying former giants, former giants. Let me pick 2 more, just 2 more responses, then we move on. What speaks to you? What comes to mind when you look at these giants? Great companies that have fallen, true, great companies that have fallen, and many other stories that we can tell about these stories. And I think in a way, there are also sad stories, because these are giants that fell. And among the many reasons we can give, eventually we cannot fail to talk about leadership. Talking about domestic and family crisis, we can connect some of these issues to leadership. It's said that Africa remains a net importer of food, although it has 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. A country or a continent that has a lot of potential, capable of feeding over 60% of the world population, but is still struggling. We are still sitting on resources. And how do we transform this? It is about engaging on what we are saying today. And leaders, sometimes we look at these things and we look at them at a far distance. We look at them from a large scale perspective. I read a quote that triggered me to start what we are doing today. I read a quote by Mother Teresa. And when Mother Teresa was quitting from her teaching career to get into charity work, she was asked by the leader in that organization where she was working, "You are quitting to go and feed people in India. These are millions of people, thousands and thousands of people out there. How are you going to feed them? With your last check." Last check, which is not much. But Mother Teresa said, "I will go and I will start by the first one. And by the grace of God, I will feed the world." When I read that statement, it actually triggered me. And I felt I need just to start with one leader. And that one leader can transform another leader. And eventually, according to our Vision 2030 as Global Leadership Network, we believe by the year 2030, we'll have a pool of leaders who are competent, who are selfless across this country and across the world. And who knows what kind of a change we can bring to this country. And therefore, we look at the simple acts that we can do that eventually compounds to a significant change within our leadership scenario. There's a survey that was done by World Economic Forum, and 86% of the respondents indicated that there is a leadership gap. Actually, they were calling it a leadership crisis in various organizations. And the leadership gap we are talking about is how aligned are we to be able to serve the current needs and to project to the coming needs. There's a survey that was done by Center for Creative Leadership that shows that leaders aren't adequately prepared for the future, since crucial leadership skills in organizations are insufficient for meeting current and future needs. Even before we talk about the future, we're actually talking about the current need. So we'll explore some of these gaps that have been highlighted. There's so many research that has been done around this area. Another one was done by American Productivity and Quality Center. They identified the deficits in leadership, the top leadership skills, strategic planning. I don't know how many of us in our organization are quite vast with a strategic plan for 20, 30, 40 years to come, or even 5 years to come. Change management, how are we managing change? Knowledge sharing, emotional intelligence, among other key qualities that were identified as lacking in leadership. What is the solution? Solution is to develop ourselves, is to invest in leadership at personal level, organizational level, and as a country. Enhanced self-care is a very, very important concept here. How to enhance self-awareness and enhance self-care. My precious moment to grow. The times that I block out and say, this is mine. Because as a leader, there is so much demand that is put on us. So many people demand of our time. But I think we also need to block our time where we can sit down and think about ourselves. How many triangles can you see on that in that picture there? I don't know how many triangles you can see. Just let me pick. I think I'll just pick 2 because time is running quite fast. Yeah. So we're talking about self-awareness and self-care. Self-awareness and self-care. So this will be an opportunity for us as leaders to block those 2 hours for our own time to grow, and also to be able to take care of ourselves in various domains. We're talking about spiritual domain, we're talking about the intellectual domain, and we're also talking about social domain, among other domains that we'll be able to discuss. So let me pick 2. Patents, you are saying 19. I think I'll take one more. 19 triangles. Okay, I'll take one more, then we move on, just to be able to see the variation. So someone just send, and then we see what we have. Thank you, Patents. 19. So self-awareness and self-care are critical as leaders. Okay, so 19. Let's go with what Patents has mentioned. 19. Okay, so actually there are 24. There are 24. This masterclass will teach us a lot, and the key among them is process. The process itself will be taking us deeper and deeper. We'll be getting deeper to understand ourselves, better to know how and the potential we have, the perspectives that we might have been missing out in our interaction, and also among many other things. So the question here is, how self-aware are you? That is one of the questions we'll be engaging in. There are tools that we'll share with you along the way. The Global Leadership Pyramid by Thomas indicates that leaders move through 5 levels to produce meaningful accomplishments. And the first level is self-awareness. So before we talk about relationship, before we talk about vision, strategy, and action, we always have to start from self-awareness. And that will be level 1 of our discussion. because self-awareness is key. We look at the iceberg, the iceberg model, decoding self and others, which is very important factor for every leader. So we look at knowledge, what you know, your behavior, but we also go down deeper to the values, beliefs, the social. We look at the personality traits that are so deep. This is now going to the deeper part of the iceberg. So studies show that 90% of people presume to be self-aware, while only 10 to 15 are actually aware. Even tonight, I'm sure maybe most of us, we might indicate we are fully aware, but when we start getting into the deeper process of self-awareness, we are able to see something that we might have missed out throughout our awareness creation period. Then self-awareness occurs when an individual is aware of these aspects here, the strength, the weakness, the personality traits, the behavior, and the emotions. Yeah, so we'll utilize some of the tools to be able to help us.
Mr.
And
Joseph,
self-awareness.
we can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay, am I audible now? Am I audible now? Kindly confirm.
Not that much.
Sounds like
Okay.
it's coming clear.
Okay, sorry for that. So let me put off my video a little bit.
Picking so far. Okay, Chairman, you're back. I was beginning to ask them what they have picked so far. Unmute, please. Chairman, unmute.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great.
Sorry for that. I think the network was hanging. That's why even the audio was not clear. So I was saying self-awareness serves as a foundation for strengthening all the other leadership level. So we'll talk about self-leadership, which is the foundation of all the other forms of leadership. Then self-care, taking care of yourself so that you can be healthy, you can be well, you can do your job, you can help and care for others. The better I take care of myself, the better I'm also able to take care of the people that I'm serving. Parker Palmer said that self-care is never a selfish act. It's simply good stewardship of the only gift I have, the gift I was put on earth to offer others. Anytime we can listen to true self and give the care it requires, we do it not only for ourselves, but for the many others whose lives we teach. We are able to add value to others by adding value to ourselves. By growing, we're able to lift our lead and be able to help others lift their lead. When you travel through an aeroplane, there's this announcement that is normally made that in the event of an emergency, put your own oxygen mask on first. And this announcement, I think, reminds us that if we don't put on our oxygen first, we may not be able to help other leaders. We may not be able to help the people that we are serving. And therefore, this will be an opportunity just to be able to think on how do we take care of ourselves, because this is a key success factor in leadership development. And then self-care is key. Erin Woban says that my secret to success is making sure that my cup is full so I can pour into my team. Leaders, this will be a time to look at the level of our cup. Where are we? Am I exhausting my energy? Have I exhausted? Because sometimes leaders, we can be exhausted, and we need to just sit close together with leaders and be able to replenish our cups. It will be a moment to replenish our cup. I think it's Milka who said, as leaders, we are expected to speak in so many scenarios, in so many forums. And therefore, I need to keep on pouring into my internal cup so that I can be able to continue pour into other people's cup. So leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. This is according to John F. Kennedy, 35th president of the US. And Michael Langell, at the age of 87, he said, I'm still learning. I don't know how many of us are 87 years old here. This man said, I'm still learning at 87. And I think this tells us that we all have the space to continue learning. Cultivate resilience, the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress come through the COVID period. Stress, people have been stressful. And as leaders, we had a role to be able to see our people move through, go through, even ourselves as we were going through the stress ourselves, we had to rise up and to be able to show the way. Resilience. Yeah, resilience. So how we are going to help our team to bounce back in times of difficulty. And there are good examples of leaders that were able to bounce back. I think the best example is Abraham Lincoln. 1832, lost his job. 1833, failed in his business. 1835, lost his sweetheart. 1836, suffered nervous breakdown. 1838, you can see there. 1856, defeated for the Senate. 1858, defeated for the nomination of vice president. 1860, elected as the president of America. What resilience! What a resilient man. Didn't give up. He was able to bounce back in the midst of challenge. And I think leaders, this is a critical quality that we need to continuously develop. No matter at whatever level you are in terms of resilience, there is always room to continuously be able to grow. And he said that success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Leaders, the difference between successful and unsuccessful leaders is resilience. Even within our country, there are leaders we see they've been resilient, especially in the political arena. They have lost and lost, but they are still there. They're still bouncing back. Some of them you feel they have gone. You feel they will never vie again. And then you see they are there. So we'll talk about this, the resilience, the inner strength to get back on track despite the bumps, the hurdles, the hurts, the shakeups. And I'm sure as we talk through this, we'll be able to emerge better. About the mindset, shaping the mindset, our beliefs, how our leaders make sense of the world, about the self and about the leadership. And this influences how a leader thinks, feels, and behaves in any situation. And therefore, a leader's mindset, our mindset towards our leadership determines the quality of leadership. One of the statements that really connects to this issue of the mindset is what Mwai Kibaki, the third president of Kenya, said. Leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. Just that mindset alone can change the whole thinking about leadership. It's not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. And that means if I'm a leader, it's a privilege. I'm there to be able to better the lives of the people. That's a mindset shift. And this is the kind of the content that we shall be discussing, the scenarios and the case studies that will help us just get an inward transformation. Finally, we'll talk about developing dynamic leaders. Pastor Chege mentioned the VUCA world. We are living in environments that are volatile, the environment that demands we need to react quickly, even without certainty, quickly without being sure this is the right answer. But we need to do something. And I think this is what we saw even in the COVID period. Leaders were thinking on their feet, making decisions on their feet, trying out, but they had no chance to do nothing because people were watching. So we are living in a VUCA world, uncertain. The environment requires we take action without certainty. We take measures that we are not sure they will address the issue, but we still have to do something. And I'm happy to see we have a researcher among us because these are critical people when it comes to issues of dealing with this kind of VUCA world. The complexity is dynamic. There are so many interdependencies. What happens in China easily affects what happens in Kenya and globally. The scenario, the environment is ambiguous. It's unfamiliar. It's outside of our experience and our expertise. Yet we have no option of doing nothing. So we'll talk about how do we adapt to this kind of an environment? How do we upgrade ourselves to be able to fit into this change, because change is pushing on us. There's a book by Marshall Goldsmith titled "What Got You Here Won't Get You There." There are strategies that have taken us to where we are, but maybe they may not take us to the next phase. They may not take us to the next years. And therefore, we'll have the courage to be able to evaluate what has worked and what needs to be changed as we move forward. There's a quote here by Tadin. He says that a leader should keep his head in the clouds, but feet on the ground. Be able to see far, think far, but again, be able to walk with the people along the way. So the rapid change and constant transition have made leadership become complex in a way, becomes challenging. It's a challenging responsibility. And therefore, leaders, we have no choice but to adapt, to innovate, to learn, unlearn, relearn, and also help others to be able to do the same. And those who embrace this becomes their competitive advantage, because they're able to bounce back. They're able to keep, to stay ahead of the challenges. They're able to translate this into opportunity. Finally, leaders, as I conclude on the overview, I want to say networking, collaboration, and creativity are key for every leader. There is no one single corporate organization that excels without these qualities. The big giants we see out there, the Safaricom's and the rest, they know and they have embraced this. They focus on their core and collaborate so that others can plug in within their core areas, and together they are able to shine. So this will be a constant discussion within this masterclass. How do we network? How do we use our contacts to be able to advance? And we are not talking about an event-driven networking. We're talking about a process-driven networking. How do we collaborate towards a shared goal? How do we go beyond the traditional thinking and embrace creativity? Break sometimes the rules, break the patterns, break the norm, and look at the new ways of combining what we have to be able to come up with new ideas that can be able to take us to the next level. So networking is key. If we are going to get more fruits, we're going to get those fruits because we have accepted to network. Otherwise, without networking, all of us will go home with empty baskets. And that is not our prayer. That is not our spirit as Global Leadership Network or as Generational Leadership Network. We want all of us to go home happy that we have been able to get the fruits and we have been able to share the fruits. So this will be a practical experience. We'll have some time to walk out there, team build, undertake some creativity exercises. These are actual events, past events that we have held as we continue to graduate the new cohorts, just the way you are joining the 22nd cohort. So the vision is to equip leaders who are generational thinkers, purpose-centered, vision-driven leaders. We see these leaders in every home, in every organization, and in every country. So a generational thinker, purpose-centered and vision-driven leader in every home, organization, and country. Every cohort adds a generational leader in a home. It adds a generational leader in an organization, and it adds a generational leader in a country. This is a holistic program. It will help us from all these dimensions. We call it a 360 applicable program. As a self-leader, you'll be able to offer better leadership to the inner circle, to the team or organization, and also to the public or the community leadership. It will be an opportunity just to be able to engage in a very sober discussion, look at the gaps, look at the challenge, study various leaders as case studies, look at the traits that we can learn from them and apply them for our own growth. So we'll, as part of the specific objectives, we'll be able to look at how do we cultivate critical leadership skills, knowledge, attitude, and also beliefs so that we can transform our society and also transform ourselves. Look at how do we empower leaders with practical skills and tools to leverage their strength. Again, cultivate a culture of reading and research. Someone mentioned here that she was able to upgrade her reading culture because we'll be able to study together, do book review together, and be able to share the same as we come for the sessions. Then provide practical solutions to challenges facing society by initiating practical projects. So before we graduate, we'll undertake a project proposal, and that will be an opportunity to also develop some qualities of research, some qualities of networking, and also some qualities of project proposal writing. Finally, we are looking at building a global network of generational thinkers, purpose-centered and vision-driven. The purpose is to equip leaders who will enjoy personal transformation and become trusted, who will also be able to empower others. These masterclass leaders will act as a trigger to help us re-emerge. Maybe you, as a person or as an organization, you have grown and you might be in a success plateau. You might have flattened your success. And maybe you are asking yourself some critical questions. How do I move on from here? So it will be a trigger to help us not to get to the death or to the death point, but to have a mindset shift that will help us to re-emerge and be able to serve our purpose. So the expectation, I've seen your expectation from your registration. From our side, this is what we expect, that we'll be able to appreciate, all of us will be able to appreciate the critical role of leadership in driving transformation. We'll also have enhanced skills, knowledge, and attitude, transformed attitude. We'll also have inspired a culture of reading and research. We'll also appreciate and grow networking and collaboration skills at the end of the masterclass. And we also expect that all of us will be aligned to a personal mission and vision after this masterclass. This is our hope. The outcomes are listed there. I think I'll not go through the outcome because I want to conclude by just mentioning the structure. What is the structure of the masterclass? Level one, we look at the coursework. The coursework will be based on this book, Becoming a Global Leader. Some of you already have the book, which is the training manual. The rest of you who do not already have the manual will work on the logistics of how to shift to ship the book to where you are. So please, if you have not registered, just take the time to register via the link that I've shared so that we can do that. Stage 2, weekly book review based on the book, The Purpose-Driven Leader. And then stage 3, project proposal, a team project proposal. And then stage 4, course evaluation. The masterclass, the training manual has 3 levels. Level 1, we look at the essential of leadership. Level 2, we look at intermediate leadership development. We'll be redefining leadership in different perspectives. Then level 3, we look at the core leadership competences, the power of vision, the power of character, the power of mentorship, among other key topics. Level 4, it will be about you now moving out to be able to equip other leaders. So leaders will spend 12 weeks together, 1 session per week for 2 hours. There are other models that we normally conduct this masterclass, but for this Thursday class, we'll focus on the 12 weeks duration. It will be virtual. We normally have the physical, but for this masterclass, it will be virtual. We have other cohorts going on. Cohort 20 is going on every Tuesday. Cohort 21 is also going on every Saturday. And this now will be cohort 22, which will be running on Thursdays at 8 p.m. What is the cost? I know we have already communicated, but I want to say that nothing of value comes without a cost. The program will cost you, 1, in terms of time. You have to block out the 2 hours every week on Thursdays. Financially, we are only charging for the materials. We may not say we are really charging for the entire program. We have heard from our alumni that if we are to charge this program to the actual value, then it will be much more than what we are charging. So financially, it will cost you 5,000. That is for the training manual, the 2 books, and also the facilitation, including the certificates. Authenticity and authenticity, we'll discuss a lot, we'll talk a lot. So that attitude of accepting to share our personal stories is also important. Relationally, the program will cost you vulnerability, even as we share our stories. So this is the cost leaders. And I just want to pause there and take the opportunity to first congratulate you, because this decision is a critical decision. Robin Sharma said, if you want to triple your success, triple your personal development. Because if you grow, success takes care of itself. So leaders, I want to pause there and want to welcome Cohort 22. We are ready for you. The facilitators are ready for you, and we are gearing to go so that we can be able to learn together and become better together. Because according to our belief as Global Leadership Network, if a leader gets better, life gets better. The families get better and the organizations get better. Thank you so much, leaders. We'll want to pause for 5 minutes just to be able to take your reaction as we also discuss the way forward. Thank you, and let me hand over to Reverend Kahindi just to take care of this, to handle this session.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for that quite an insightful overview. Well, leaders, we present to you this chance just to put forward any question, any comment on the link on the chat, or if you want to unmute and just say something, or at least give us your take home and your thought. And I'll just sample some of them. Joyce says, kindly share, so I register, kindly share the link. The link has been shared, but Chairman, please reshare it again. So on the chat, Chairman will be sharing it again. So somebody say something. Let's have a comment. Mr. Samuel Mwangi. Let's just
Yes,
have
sir.
a comment. Yes.
Good evening, Reverend and Chairman and alumni and the new members.
Good evening.
Oh, thank you, sir. Pressure. I've been in this forum and I have listened. And I think today the chairman has done it very well in terms of explanation. The 3 speakers have done it so well. I wish we had more people to listen to that. But when I listen to what has been said, I think it's answering a very critical question for all of us. And things which some of renowned leadership, Christian leaders, has talked about in the past. It will demonstrate by the end of the course, I believe you'll be able to get the answer to this question. Whom am I? And I think the aspect of character was mentioned. It will help you. By the end of that course, you can be able to say, this is who I am. That question will be answered. 2, it's also possible to say exactly, why are you here? Why are you born to make money and eat and just to make a living? There must be something that you are created to do. And this is an opportunity to discover that. And that's that exactly, what are you made of? And 3, what can you do about it? Now that you know, this course is going to reveal what can you do about it. And Chairman has already said what he is doing. Leverett is a banker, but he has also said he's taking care of our pockets. He's also an investor. And I think he has said it and shown us some photos. So he's basically doing what the late Myers Muno saying, that you give all what you have so that you have nothing. So that what God gave you, you are able to give it. But unless you know what you are, why you are created, it's difficult to do. And then finally, you can talk about, there's this famous reader called Joel Baker. He authored, I think in 1989, where he came up with the business of paradigms. This is an opportunity it's going to change the way you look at things. So if you have listened to Joel Baker in the past, the business of paradigm, this course is supposed to help you see things from a different perspective. And we are told change comes in because of pioneers. Will you be one of those? It's not the insiders who make change. It is outsiders. If you want to change this government, it cannot be changed by those who are inside. It has to be somebody from outside. And you are, I believe, the paradigm pioneers on the way things are run in this country, in your organization, and in our families. Thank you, Chairman. I submit.
Thank you very much, Samuel. You couldn't have gone without telling us those words of wisdom. Leaders, this is one of the people you will encounter in one of the lessons, and you can see he's refraining himself from talking. So he has not said anything yet. He just opened his mouth to say hi, and you will meet him in many other places. That's the power of network. Let me go to the chat here before I bring in our moderator for the day. Where are we on the chat? Just want to see comments that are here. Registration, we had read about the registration link that we have shared. Leadership is a process and not an event. Mr. Maneno is mentioning there. So the registration link is there. And Joseph, our chairman, has put his contacts there and the contacts of our secretary, our able secretary, Edith. Edith, I'm not seeing her around here, but she will be, she is normally organizing that. Edith does our secretarial job. Harrison says, thank you for the great presentation. I feel I should have joined this earlier. Harrison, the best time is now. Actually, I remember this, this proverb, the best time for you to have planted a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. If you miss it now, then chances are you will not eat the fruits of that tree. So you are right on time. Our chairman says your contacts will help us to reach out to you and deliver the training materials and share this recording. So just drop your contacts as you do, you click the registration link, you give us your contacts there so you can be able to give you more information. Then Nathan said, I have learned a lot today. As leaders, we need to unlearn some things in order to learn. Thank you. Thank you. That's a great take home. Today was not a day of learning, it's just introduction. So I'm really glad if you have learned something. Joyce says, was very educative, looking forward for more. I needed to give it to a moderator, but I'm looking for Eda. Eda, tell us a word before a moderator comes in.
Good evening, leaders.
Good evening to you.
Good evening, Eda. This is a nice lesson I've gone through, and I hope everyone will enjoy and will change his leadership. Most welcome.
Great, great. It is my good habit to make everybody talk, but unfortunately time will not allow me today. So Ronald, Patency, Julius, Nathan, Harrison, Anthony, Fad, Gafour, I hope I pronounced that well, and Barbara. Then Mr. Maneno, you can be sure you will talk. Harrison, thanks for the email there. If you can put it on the registration link, it will be better. We'll save it there. We'll also share whatever we have recorded today. Over to you, our moderator, Bernard Mwangi.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Can we give a thumbs up to all of us who have been in the program? Thumbs up there, a clap, whichever way. Just before we go, I don't know, probably I could give a gentleman and a gentle lady. Nathan, if you are somewhere, you can unmute and say a word on behalf of the gentlemen on this forum. Feel free to say a word. Nathan. Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Please say a word on behalf of the men in the forum.
Yeah, I can say that I won't manage to miss this training, this leadership training. And this time I'm in. And I want to encourage my fellow men that we can't avoid this training because we need it. It is a basic need that we all have to go through if we want to be the best leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Patency, on behalf of the ladies in the forum, if you can hear me, please unmute and say a word. Patency.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Say a word on behalf.
On behalf of the ladies who are in the group, I'm so grateful for the lesson. I've learned a lot and I'm longing to learn a lot. It will help me in my profession and also it will help me in my Christian life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we are coming to the end of tonight's presentations. And as the chairman has said, we are looking forward to interact with you from next week when the lessons will commence. Today was just an open day just to prepare you for what is awaiting us ahead. And we shall continue to network and interact. So I will ask Mr. Chairman maybe to say the final word, and then we shall be able to share the grace. Chairman.
Thank you so much, leaders. We look forward to interacting with you more. We are ready to share. All the materials that we normally use in this class are shared to all our participants, including the recordings. It's our habit to give as much as we can because knowledge has more value when it's shared. So we look forward. Next week, Thursday, we'll be on from 8 p.m. and I will be officially starting from lesson 1 as we move on. We'll be able to interact more because during the session, we normally have breakout session where we are able to get into groups and also be able to network with other leaders and share our experiences towards the guided topics. Otherwise, thank you so much, leaders. Thank you for your time. Getting 1 hour and a half for a leader, we salute you because we understand your schedules are tight as always. But again, it's important, as we have said, that we also block our time for ourselves. So we thank you and we appreciate you and may God bless you. We are ready for you. I trust you are also ready for us. God bless you. Please note our number so that you can also reach out to us, but we'll also be reaching out to you, especially those who have not received the manual, so that you can be ready by Thursday so that we start together. Thank you and God bless you and have a blessed night. Probably we can unmute and just share the words of grace together, even as we bring this to a close. So may the grace
of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God,
and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now
and
forevermore.
forevermore. Amen.
Thank you.
Blessed night and weekend.